Gosh, let's just start with it. But the Broncos game was a nice change of pace for the Broncos. I mean, finally they have somebody who isn't a bunch of piece of shit at quarterback.
Well, and not only that, it's like all Teddy had to do was not lose the game. And that's exactly what he did, right? Like, he just didn't fucking blow it, which is what we needed, because the Broncos just dominated that from the entire game.
Yeah, and it was probably the first time in years that they have not looked like absolute shit to open the season.
I know, which is great. I mean, Teddy Two Gloves, just the game that every Broncos fan needed him to play, he played.
These guys, though, sure made us think that they were going to be back to their same old Broncos selves, with Albert O fumbling on the 5-yard line with 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. After finally getting some momentum, guy just decides to cough it up like a fucking hack.
Like a fucking idiot. Yeah, it's all right, things are going great for the Broncos. Do you know what would really fucking suck right now? For Albert O to, out of all people, to fucking fumble it. It's oh, sick, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we looked so much like they did last year. And then, but we're not Broncos fans, of course. And then Jerry
fuck the Broncos.
Then
Jerry snaps his leg.
Yeah, and in the process, although I know he was down and he didn't fumble the ball, just watching that, you're just you've got to be fucking shitting me.
Yeah, right. It's all right, so what's a worst case scenario for Broncos fans? It's what if Jerry Jeudy snapped his leg in week 1? It's yeah, they got weapons still. They got Fant, they got Alberto, they got Cortland Sutton, they got fucking Tim Patrick had a nice game. But it's what if Jerry Jeudy, of all people, just snaps his leg on a inconsequential just play? It was just a regular first down run. Snap.
Yeah. And we have KJ Hamler also making an incredible catch when we needed a first down, and then falling that dropping the best pass that Teddy Bridgewater threw all day. It's just finally there's a blown coverage, or however the hell he got that wide open, and he just drops what would have been a sure touchdown, or at least inside the 5. Just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, dude, just absolutely hilarious. It's dude, catch it when it fucking matters, KJ. Read the room, bro.
There was also, on a 4th down play, you have Albert O making somebody miss and then taking it in for the touchdown. I believe that was 7 minutes to go in the third. The greatest part of this entire play is that Joe Judge ends up challenging it, even though it's a scoring play. And the refs have to go over and tell him, hey, Joe, you can't challenge this play. And he proceeds to lose his absolute shit because he's Joe Judge.
Yo, Joe Judge, you're actually doing exactly everything you're supposed to be, because you're a Giants coach and you're a fucking hack and a joke. So good challenge, dude. Good challenge.
Yeah, the pseudo drill sergeant doesn't even know the rules.
Let's move it over to in division. The Chiefs and the Browns, dude. The Chiefs just are getting dominated all day long, and they end up fucking winning the game. To the Browns, they had that game in the bag from the first fucking snap. Their defense played great, dude. They kept fucking Mahomes. They kept Mahomes just in the. Sorry, you might have to cut some of this, because I'm trying to think of the word to say right now.
I'm a man of action, and you're a man that comes up with good words. Words, dude.
Under control all fucking day long.
Yeah.
And which is hard to do. It's happened. He's played 50 games in his career. He's been controlled today, or controlled like he was today, twice in his entire career. The Super Bowl in this game, and they did it, and they find a way to lose.
They didn't even have an offensive line during the Super Bowl, which people can say whatever they want about that game, but if you really think that they weren't going to be as dominant as they always are, then you're a fool. And today,
You're a fool.
probably one of the only other times in history that they've been contained for any amount of time sustained. And
Words, dude.
and of course, they are the Terminators towards the end of the game, though. And like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are just monsters all the time. I mean, every time you need a big play, there they fucking are. Also, though, Mahomes had a pretty shifty little run play for that touchdown. That was pretty awesome. But the Browns the Browns look great today. Like, I wouldn't be bummed at all if you're a Browns fan. Yeah, you got to learn how to close games out, but
you got to close that game out, especially at Arrowhead, dude. Like, the game, you dominated it. You should have won that game. And it's hilarious that we're talking like, okay, so the Chiefs, they played, or the Browns had the Chiefs like in their possession all game long, and the Chiefs still put up 33 fucking points and win by 4. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, the Browns did a great job today. The Chiefs only put up 33.
Also, though, the Browns were getting pretty lucky occasionally. In the second, with like 3 minutes left, they had this trick play where Jarvis was supposed to throw it or something, and it got all fucked up, and he decided to run for it and get the first down. That was super sketchy. But yeah, I mean,
yes,
the Browns, though, they look pretty decent today. I mean,
dude, yeah, if I'm a Browns fan, I'm fucking happy. Yeah, you lost at Arrowhead, and you dominated the majority of the game. Like, it inspires confidence moving forward. There's no doubt.
If Baker keeps playing like that, I don't think he'll be cleaning toilets at Brown Stadium for very long.
Yeah, but he might. And for your no one gives a shit about your fantasy play of the week, Odell doesn't even fucking play.
That's a hard pill to swallow for sure. Odell Beckham doesn't even play week 1.
Doesn't even fucking play week 1. What a joke. Let's keep it in the AFC West, I guess. The Chargers, they go into Washington football team. Wasn't pretty by any means, but when you're walking out of Washington with a W against that defense, you did something right.
And some injuries hurt the entire league, and I would say that's the case with Fitzmagic going down. And I was just reading about it a little while ago. It does not sound good. It sounds like it could be pretty serious. And it's pretty chill that they're able to come back and get a lead in the third quarter before it went to shit for him. And yeah, very close game, but God, that sucks that we lose Fitzmagic. Pennies will be significantly
more than anything,
drier.
Dude. Like, if you're not rooting for Fitzmagic, you're a fucking piece of shit, and you can go die in hell, because he's the most likable guy in the National Football League.
Yeah, that really sucks. If it could be anybody on that team, why wasn't it Dwayne Haskins on the Steelers? You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's just rewind that. It's like, all right, forget Washington football. Forget the Steelers. If someone's getting hurt, fuck Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, exactly. Or Juju. But Juju, let's transition over to the Steelers game today. Juju got his shit TikToked in on one of those plays for a big drop later in the game. It was fantastic. In the third with
how do you go from the most likable dude in the National Football League to literally the most hated dude in the National Football League in the course of 3 weeks? Well, I guess when you're dancing on other teams' logos and you're just a piece of shit TikToker.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you play professional football as a sport, dude. Stop doing
you're an
dances.
annoying ass millennial doing garbage antics in the NFL. People are gonna really like it when you get your shit tagged. So that was pretty great. I enjoyed that thoroughly. And then that game could have been an insane shootout to start. I mean, that was the first game I watched today, was Buffalo and the Steelers, and shit was sick. TJ Watt had an epic strip sack in the second quarter with 8:40 to go.
And that's why he's $100 million man. Such a sick strip sack.
Yeah, it was epic. Josh Allen did not play well today at all. The dude couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn. I mean, most of his deep throws were missing by multiple zip codes. It was brutal. And I wrote on 4th and 8 in the third with about 8 to go, Josh Allen throws into triple coverage for no apparent reason. And what was so dumb about it at the time is you just don't need to take risks like that, especially in a close game. I mean, you needed to get some momentum there, but 4th and 8, he didn't throw a pick, but almost picked. And then the Bills
Yeah.
just continued to be shit on 4th down. In the 4th, they had just a horrible screen pass that went absolutely nowhere. It was pretty humiliating. And
Yeah, the Steelers, they got shit on all offseason. You know, they have a bad offensive line, which didn't play bad today. That won 11-0 last year, people forget. And then, you know, absolutely laid a brick at the end of the year. But you don't get to 11-0 by being a bad football team.
No.
And so being plus 6.5, dude, they took some shit headed into this week and showed America that, like, yo, we're still here. Mike Tomlin is still a great fucking head coach.
Yeah, it's just that punt block also late for the Steelers sealed it, and it's brutal.
Absolutely sealed it. Yeah.
Then we have, oh man, probably the most comedic game in a long time is LASIK Winston pulled a Thanos on Green Bay, collecting all 5 humiliation crystals to absolutely destroy the pack. I mean, my God. Guy throws 5 touchdowns on 155 yards. How is that even fucking possible? I mean,
yeah, dude. Well, he doesn't have to do shit all game long, and he's just dragging his nutsack across Rodgers and the Pack's forehead.
Oh, just wait. There's more. This is more monologue session, okay? But their field position was so good. Dinosaur Drew Brees could have thrown 5 TDs with his weak-ass arm. Name a former MVP quarterback who only threw for 133 yards and an interception. Who is Aaron Rodgers? It's too. Oh wait, there's still more. It's too bad Jeopardy passed up on Rodgers for host because my man's looked like he had never played football before in his life. The fantasy football community was stoked on his performance today. And finally, we have now entered the surrealism era of the NFL as a former blind crab thief just made the Packers look like a bunch of pieces of shit.
Nutsack across the pack. Everyone's all high on the pack this year. Oh, they're like darlings in the NFC. Besides the Bucks, they're like the trendy pick, and it's like fucking LASIK Jameis is like, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah, that's just incredible. I mean, I don't know how you go to bed tonight without just feeling absolute shame. They should all be given the Game of Thrones treatment after that one. And, like, how does it even happen with Aaron Rodgers? Like, how do you play that bad? I read right after the game, they hadn't had a third down conversion for the first 3 quarters, which is just obscene.
Which is absolutely obscene for being one of the best offenses in the entire league. It's like, be fucking better.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Another shocker, well, kind of a shocker, is fucking 49ers Lions. Did you think the Lions had people on offense to put 33 fucking points on the board?
No.
Dan Campbell, well, they lost by 8. I would say, like, it was one of the more impressive debuts of the year. Like, the Lions are supposed to get their fucking shit pumped all season long. And, dude, they played a great game against the 49ers, who gave them everything they had. I mean, Shanahan just continues to show why he's one of the most coveted coaches in the league. And he is just such a good play caller, such a smart head coach. They win by 8, but the Lions gave them everything they had. And that was my underrated game to watch this week, and it was great. I mean, 41-33 I think was the final head score, and it was just a sick game.
Yeah, biggest surprise of the Sunday is that Jared Goff was actually not complete dog shit with the Lions. I mean, 338, 3 touchdowns.
Goff's so underrated.
Whew. Yeah, the problem
Like,
with Goff
like
is he's just a punk bitch. But
Brutal, savage, ranked.
other than that, he is really good at football.
yeah, dude, like he just got shit on all offseason because Sean McVay traded him for Stafford and then continued to just absolutely stroke Stafford off
Yeah.
all offseason long. And Goff was just like, dude, what the fuck, dude? I'm not a bad quarterback. And he's not. He's like a top 15 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and Goff is just the kind of the kid who gets picked last for kickball in the NFL. It's hilarious. It's like he wants so desperately.
That's the best way to put it, actually. He is the guy that gets picked last in kickball.
Like, he seems like a cool enough guy, but he also just seems kind of like somebody you could just be like, oh man, do we really have to hang out with Jared today? But
there's two people left. It's fucking Ronald and Goff. Let's go with Ronald, dude. Fuck Jared.
yeah, and
for your
just,
inconsequential game of the week, the Jets beat the Panthers. Cool. So on to the Seahawks and Colts.
yeah, that game, the one thing I will say is Robbie Anderson continues to be the best at catching one super long touchdown like every 3 games. And he started that off strong this year, so that's pretty cool.
100%, yeah. And Sam Darnold's revenge game. The game everyone had circled on their calendars this week.
Oh, what we should move on though, for real, because who cares about the Jets, is the Bengals upsetting the Vikings. How fucking embarrassing is that for Minnesota, who honestly didn't really play that bad, but Joe Burrow just went off,
Joe motherfucking Burrow.
And Joe Mixon went off. It was sick to see Jamar Chase get his first touchdown.
Dude, Jamar Chase played
just balling.
Dude, Jamar Chase fucking balled today. He had an absolute great game. What, he went over 100 yards with a touchdown. Mixon had 127 on the ground. Joe Burrow 261 and 2 touchdowns. The Bengals played a fucking great football game today.
The other thing too is that they were kicking the shit out of them early. Like, they had a 2 touchdown lead super early in the game. And the Vikings, it's just like, it's not. I don't see the Bengals being able to do this every week, so they have to be embarrassed to a certain extent. And Kirk Cousins still threw for 351 and 2 touchdowns. It's just brutal.
Well, it's just hilarious because that's what Kirk Cousins does every week. He throws for 351, 251 of which are in garbage time to pad his own stats. But he let him back after the Bengals were kicking the shit out of the Vikings, but then finds a way to lose it in overtime because it's Kirk Cousins at the end of the day.
Yeah, and Kirk. If you can't beat the Bengals in the regular season, what you gonna do in the postseason, Kirk? For real, dude, you want to be taken seriously or not? I'm so sick of Kirk Cousins being considered a good quarterback when he does shit like this. It's pathetic.
You can't lose to the fucking Bungles.
Yeah, and with that, we'll go on to the Battle of the Birds of War, Philadelphia Beagles, dude. And Jalen Hurts just throwing for 3 TDs casually. Miles Sanders ran the ball okay, and Devontae Smith opening it up like a stud. So, are the Eagles
just another
back?
Guy that everyone shit on all offseason was the Eagles. They were like, Jalen Hurts, not the guy. And dude, Jalen Hurts, say what you want, dude. He had a great year last year for himself. And he just fucking goes into Atlanta and just fucking lays sack on the Falcons, who will either put up 48 points on offense or 6 points on offense, and there is no in between.
Yeah, there isn't. They're really boom or bust every single week. It's awesome for the Birds because they have been getting laughed at so much recently. And yeah, Jalen Hurts, it's been pretty unfair. If you look back on what he did coming in last year in a bad situation, he played pretty admirably. So that's
for
awesome
sure
to see them play this well to open things up. And,
dude, and 27 for 35, completion percentage great, 3
That's
touchdowns.
efficient, bro. That is
Dude,
good.
he was running the ball great too. Like every time he was scrambling, he was picking up like 10 yards almost.
Yeah.
Like it was great. Jalen Hurts, people are like trying to shit on the dude, and every week he's just like an unshittable on quarterback, dude. He puts up like a great stat line, and he like finds a way to win the game.
Yeah, it's great. Then we have
Cardinals at Titans to keep with the bird teams. Tennessee, just another offseason darling that absolutely lays an egg in week 1. And dude, they didn't have a chance all game long. Like Arizona outclassed Tennessee from the first snap to the last snap. Derrick Henry never really got going.
it was insane.
Tyler balled the fuck out.
This team is insane when it's playing like this. Kyler with 5 touchdowns, D-Hop just being a stud, and Christian Kirk. Watching this was just crazy. It was just like, yeah, people need to start respecting the Cardinals a lot more because these guys can really destroy you if they're running at full steam. So,
yeah, I mean, well, they can beat you in such a fucking number of ways, you know? Like they can run the football, and they addressed that this offseason by bringing in James Conner to complement Chase Edwards, or Edmonds, excuse me. And they're just so balanced. They can beat you on the ground. They can beat you through the air. They can run the clock out. Their defense is more than serviceable. Now that they got like JJ, Chandler Jones had 3 sacks in the first half.
And 5 on the game. Like, he's a fucking animal. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's casually on pace for 15.
Yeah, what is that?
Like 78? 7. No, plus another fucking 16.
Oh, yeah. That's
he's on pace for like 86 sacks this season.
Wow!
Yeah, it's great stuff. You gotta love that. And Isaiah Simmons gets that interception, which is really great as well because he is like a tweener. He's like a safety linebacker safety. So it's good to see those guys succeed from time to time.
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
And the Cardinals really love to see that because they've drafted like 12 of those guys, including this year with Zaven Collins. So good to see for Steve Keim some of that shit working out. And
finally,
then let's go to the Dolphins and the Patriots in a nail biter.
Yeah, dude.
Where Tua played as average
17-16
does. Yeah.
Dude, is anyone gonna be able to live down, or is anyone
Words, dude.
live down his quote after like his 4th start last year, where he says, "Yeah, everything's just like pretty slow. Like I expected the NFL to be harder." Like, what a fucking quote to just like have hang over your entire career, because he's gonna be out of the league in like 2 years' time, or he's gonna be a backup because he sucked
so much.
Dude, I fucking hate that he said that. Like, who gives other team bulletin board material like that and then proceeds to be like the most mediocre career or mediocre player of all time? It's like a fucking joke, dude. Tua, mark my words, dude, in 5 seasons, he's not even gonna be in the NFL.
Yeah, Yak is a staunch proponent of the Reagan era football demeanor, where you do not say dumbass shit like that.
Yeah, well, it's pretty fucking easy.
That's great. And then one of our personal favorites, Nelson the Aguilarian Aguilar, had a pretty big game, and I just like to see him score touchdowns because he has really torn it up the last few years, and it's pretty fun to see him play. And Mac Jones played pretty well. I mean, he threw for 281 and a touchdown, which is nice for them to see. Probably not nice for the rest of the league, because now we're all just like, shit, is this Tom Brady 2.0?
They lost, though. They lost to the fucking
yeah.
Dolphins in New England, too. So,
but let's at least give credit that in general, Brian Flores and that defense are pretty epic. So not too big a deal to lose to them. Like, they could still be a good team. Both of them could be, despite how much you hate Tua.
Yeah, I don't think the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins are going to be a very solid team. We'll go 9-8 this year, but as Tua is just, I don't know. I'm glad he's not the quarterback for my favorite team,
Right.
which I don't have one because fuck the NFL.
Yeah, and fuck the Broncos. We're definitely not Broncos fans.
Not Broncos fans.
Let's go to Seattle and Indy, where we had a clash of Russell versus another former MVP candidate and Carson Wentz.
More MVP votes than Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah, clash of the MVPs. And Seattle just did Seattle shit the entire game. It was just like, oh, hey, look, there's Tyler Lockett catching an 80-yard bomb. Oh, hey, look, there's them doing that exact same shit again with Russell running around and them letting Russ cook and all of that shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, oh, do you want to see Russ stay in the pocket for 14 seconds? Yo, check this out.
Yeah. Just classic Seahawks. I mean, I don't even know what else to say about this game, really. It was just, oh, yeah, they're doing a bunch of bullshit on offense and just having insane touchdowns. But if you're the Colts, at least Carson didn't throw a whole bunch of picks. I mean, 25 of 38 isn't great, but 251, 2 TDs isn't terrible.
Isn't bad. No, for sure.
Jonathan Taylor balled his ass off, too. And
yeah, which is what you want to see. Honestly, more than anything, if I'm an Indy fan, is Jonathan Taylor had a solid game. But Seattle was just the better team.
Yeah, there's really not much to say about that game. It was just Russell throwing the ball to Tyler Lockett and them doing Seahawks shit.
So let's go to maybe the most surprising result of the day. The Texans putting 37 points up on Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, dude, like, so here's a fun little tidbit. Houston had 3 interceptions today. They had 3 interceptions last fucking season. Which is like, how does that even work? 3 interceptions in an entire season? Like, what a fucking joke. But yeah, the team that everyone has rightfully so shit on this entire offseason just absolutely embarrasses Jacksonville to get, you know, Trevor Lawrence's and Urban Meyer's debuts underfoot. Like, man, if I'm a Jacksonville fan, I do not like looking at that score.
No, I mean, it's horrible. The Texans on paper have the worst roster in the NFL, and that's including
and it's not even close.
Yeah, like Jacksonville has a better roster objectively. And it's funny too, because the Texans really were scraping this one out. They rushed like over 40 times, everyone except Tyrod averaging about 3 yards, which is just grinding that shit out. I mean, they put Mark Ingram, who's a goddamn dinosaur, for 26 carries for only 86 yards. Like, that is hard fought football. That is grimy, you know?
Yeah. But the most likable guy in the league plays for the Texans. So it's always good to see Phillip Lindsay get some dubs.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the Jaguars are just an absolute disaster already. Like, all this stuff going on with Urban Meyer in the news about how everybody on the entire team and organization hate him already because he's just a total clown. It's not good.
Well, you're not coaching college anymore. You can't like make your NFL players like run sprints. It's like, dude, that's not how the NFL works, dude. These are like high paid athletes that do this for a living. They're not like walk-ons.
Yeah, and just talking about shit like him coming in like the worst boss ever and just micromanaging, belittling his assistant coaches and like demanding to run drills when they play like shit afterwards. It's like, bro, they're probably only playing bad because you're a fucking piece of shit. This team wasn't that bad last year with Doug Marrone. Like, yeah, they had a bad roster and no real chance of winning any games, but if you watch them play, they weren't just getting their shit kicked in 24/7, especially by a roster like the Texans. I mean, if you get your shit beat in by them, it's going to get uglier and uglier all year.
Oh yeah. I mean, they got a lot of work to do from week 1 to week 2, more than any team in the league, because like, if Urban Myers has a goddamn heart attack every time he loses, he is going to be dead by the end of the season.
And,
Like in college,
by
it's
week
like
4 or 5, dude.
yeah, I don't know. When that pick happened where Urban Meyer became the coach, I was like, that's a questionable call. And so far, very questionable. Losing by 16 points to Houston. But let's move on to Chargers, Washington football. Oh, I guess we already talked about fucking Fitzmagic being hurt.
We're on to the final game, Sunday Night Football, which is basically the sitcom of the Bears at this point. I mean, the Rams were kicking the shit out of them, and if you think that wasn't happening, you're just wrong. Like, they were in control the entire game, and
Entire game.
Even when Chicago had good moments and the score was only 1 touchdown, like, they were still getting their shit kicked in the entire time. And the Bears are just such a comedy at this point. I get not wanting to throw Fields to the Wolves, but at a certain point, he got them back into the game, as well as, like, the game wasn't that bad. Like, it's not like Andy Dalton was getting his head ripped off every single play. One of the funniest things that happened, though, the highlight will be a little tough to find if they even post it, but Aaron Donald ran right into Andy Dalton, had a sack, and Andy Dalton just shrugged him off like he was nothing, which was hilarious. I've never seen Aaron Donald get shook off to the ground, but just full on falling on his ass.
And of all people, the red fucking rocket, dude.
This entire day was like that. It was just weird as shit. The Bengals beat the Vikings. You have the Texans put up 37 points. I mean, it was just a bizarre game. The Lions only losing by a touchdown to the Niners. It was just a weird game. The Browns handling the Chiefs for a long time, and then LASIK Winston destroying the Packers. Like, this was such a bizarre Sunday.
Yeah. But to keep piggybacking on the Bears-Rams game is Andy Dalton he didn't even look bad. It's just like, when are people going to realize that Matt Nagy is like not a good head coach? Like, he won Coach of the Year 7 years ago, whenever it was, 3 years ago, I think. And dude, he like hangs his laurels on that, but he just like sucks week in and week out. Like Trubisky, I don't think is a great quarterback, but he did such a bad job coaching for Trubisky last year. And it's a joke. Like, the Bears didn't have a chance in this game from the first snap to the last. Like, the Rams just absolutely fucking dominated.
They did. The shit show of Matt Nagy presented itself early as well. On I think it was their very first drive. They get really good run back. Then they get a monster 41-yard run from David Montgomery. Then they get 3rd and 6 in the red zone with like 12 minutes left to go in the first. And Matt Nagy calls a timeout because they don't have their shit together, effectively just throwing that timeout in the trash. Then after that, Andy Dalton throws an interception. I mean, it was just comical. It's like they couldn't even get the 3 points. They waste the timeout, and Andy Dalton shows he's a piece of shit. It's
yeah, which checks out.
Then the Rams were just, in my mind, they didn't even really have the ball that often or for that long, because on the following drive, I believe, if it wasn't their second possession, Stafford just uncorks an absolute piss missile for 6, and then shortly or later in the game, he hits Van Jefferson for another monster throw. It was just insane.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Rams are, I would say, maybe the number 4th, maybe number 5th darling of the NFC, and they absolutely dominated the Bears, like, from start to finish this game, and showed that they are. I mean, they're the real deal. They have 2 of the best 10, maybe like conservatively 2 of the best 10 defensive players in the league. You just need Stafford to do the bare minimum to really dominate.
Do. And today he didn't even do that. It was like Sean McVay's offense was humming with him just launching these missiles, and they had at least 2 just monster throws that ended in touchdowns. So they look really good with Stafford, and it's really basically the same shit they were doing with Goff, but maybe Stafford has a little better arm because all those passes were on point tonight. And then the Bears were just not even having good luck tonight either. After the Rams were had taken the lead for quite a long time. They were driving, and they finally had somebody get open in Allen Robinson, and then there was this missed PI call, and it was like one of the worst missed PIs ever, just because like dude hit him early, had his hand in front of his eyes. It was just really bad, and they just couldn't catch a break at all. But you know, before the half, Montgomery had that nice touchdown, and then in the third, that second massive throw to Kupp where he was just wide open. I said the game was over there. Like, the Bears ended up closing the gap a little bit after that, but
but not really. They lost by 20 points.
Yeah, and at that point it was like, I think 20-7, and then the Bears eventually, you know, Justin Fields proves that Matt Nagy's an idiot almost immediately by getting in there, running in that touchdown, and getting them some dignity still left in the third. And at that point I was like, man, you should just leave Fields out there. Like, you know, you are down by 6 points.
Why not? What do you have to lose?
Yeah, and aren't you trying to win football games this year? Like, you're only down by 6, and you've kept the Rams relatively in check all game. Like, you have to be, I don't know, just a little more aggressive there. But they put the Red Rocket back in, and his beard, he looks like a completely different human being.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Imagine having a nickname that is a dog's penis. Woof.
Yeah, and then you have to grow a beard so you don't look like Andy from Toy Story with red hair.
Well, let's not talk shit about his beard. It's a pretty good mustache he's got going on right now.
Oh, it's epic. That's what I'm saying. Is like, if I was Andy Reid, Andy Reid. If I was Andy Dalton, I probably would have grown that a long time ago.
Yeah,
maybe
it's like, yo, bro, save some pussy for the rest of us, all right?
Yeah, and then maybe his name could have been Red Beard instead of Red Rocket. You never know.
Yeah, well, that's a better nickname for sure. I guess any nickname's a better fucking nickname than the Red Rocket. What a god.
Boy,
what a god awful nickname. But that's it. There's football.
Yeah,
Week 1 wrapped up.
Week 1, so epic, so sick, so much fun. I'm really glad we made it through that, because Yak was a fucking shit show today with all of his drinking and carrying on. But yeah, that's all from Chicken Yard Sports. Please like and subscribe for more of us two idiots analyzing the football game that we all like. I'm definitely not high. He's definitely not drunk. And we're definitely not Broncos fans. We will see you on Thursday.